are here to help. We are the we. I'm Andrew Hawkins, your host, joined by analytics analyst Cynthia Freeland and Greg Rosenthal of the Around the NFL podcast. People, I'm happy to be back. Did you miss me?
We did miss you.
We did. It was like a family, and you go to Cleveland, and all hell breaks loose.
Hell breaks. You know? They kicked me out. They told me to leave and never come back. So here I am. We're going to keep our equipment to ourselves. But before we get to that, what are you guys looking for in this Sunday early slate of games? What's the storylines that stick out to you about Week 11?
For me, Week 11 is all about this night game. If you look at the Bears and you look at the Rams, both teams are kind of like teetering on, is this season just a really not so great season? Right. Or are playoff hopes still alive? So for me, Rams-Bears, this is kind of like a playoff elimination game in this one. Both offenses are really struggling. Defenses are still good, but not quite the defenses we were sort of looking at. Maybe there's a key player, obviously Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald both anchor both of those defenses, but both offenses have just been like head scratching all season long.
Don't break my daughter's heart. She's watching this Rams game. She's fired up. She's a Rams fan. Get that win, Rams.
I think they could get a win.
I think they could. I'm looking at the Eagles and the Patriots and what they do coming out of the bye week. Two of the best coaching staffs in the league, and I think that it sounds weird. I think these two teams are among the two biggest wild cards in the entire NFL. I'm not convinced this Patriots team is what we think it is. It doesn't have an offense that we've seen over the last 15, 16 years. So is that coming back? And the Eagles, to me, are the biggest boomer bust team in the NFL. They could be a Super Bowl type of contender, or they could get waxed today. This game, nothing would surprise me.
There were a lot of people's Super Bowl picks.
Right, including mine. So I'm hanging on.
What I'm looking forward to, my storyline is the 49ers better be careful. They're only a half game ahead of the Seattle Seahawks. They play the Cardinals. Cardinals played them tough last time. This is a game that if they lose this, they could put themselves out of the driver's seat for the remainder of the season. So I know they've had a great season thus far. All I'm saying is every week still matters.
Ian Rappaport reported that you're not going to likely see George Kittle. We don't have that injury report finalized yet, but there's a lot of people on it. Emmanuel Sanders, George Kittle, Matt Breida's already out. Like just
Joe Staley.
Joe Staley, that's a big deal too. So you're right.
That's the biggest differentiator late in game or late in the season is can you keep guys healthy? So, all right, now we're going to talk a little Nick Foles.
There he is.
There he is, making his first start of the season since week 1. Getting ready to hopefully put the Jaguars back on track.
That's a fancy glove for
looking
indoors.
Chill. I mean, he looks chill, but
is his hand mechanical? Like that glove is very fancy.
I'm scared of a quarterback who wears one glove.
One glove.
People don't give Foles enough love.
You're right.
I love Foles.
For more on this one, let's go on the field with Stacey Dales.
Big story here in Indianapolis, return of the quarterbacks for the home team. The Colts, Jacoby Brissett, essentially has missed 2 games. He is back from the MCL strain on that left leg. I just talked to T.Y. Hilton, who will once again be out of this one with the calf injury. But the poise, he has been special and a big infusion of energy back in the locker room this week. And then for the visiting Jacksonville Jaguars, Nick Foles, he has missed 8 games with the broken clavicle on the non-throwing shoulder. He will be back this week. Head coach Frank Reich with the Colts told me the biggest concern is the deep football down the field. I also talked with defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, who said to his players this week in particular, we have to be really patient on the back end. That ball from Nick Foles has a really high, unusually high arch, so it might come down a little bit late. So telling his guys to be patient in this game here today. Right now to Mike Garafolo, who is in Baltimore.
Thanks, Stace. Here in Baltimore, we are going to see 2 quarterbacks today with the ability to beat you with more than just their arm. And Lamar Jackson, the things he's doing in the open field, they're pretty much magical right now. But when you talk to his teammates, they say it's not just his physical ability, it's how he sets up those runs. They run a lot of those read option looks, and they say his ability at what they call the mesh point, when he's giving the ball to the running back, his ability to hide the ball from the defender and make them see things that actually aren't there are what start those plays out. Those guys are reacting so slowly that once he's in the open field, he's moving way faster than them. So look for that today. One other thing making things harder for the Texans defense, they will be without cornerback Bradley Roby. They were hoping he was going to come back from a hamstring. He will not play today. They've got a short week, so they want to make sure that maybe he'll have a chance to play on Thursday. Now back to you guys in the studio.
That's right. 2 of the biggest game changers in the league squaring off in Baltimore as Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans battle Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Cynthia, we will start with you. What are you looking for?
Well, we just saw that Marquise Brown is active, so we have Lamar Jackson now has more weapons. We were worried because he was on the injury report late in the week. So that's interesting to me. Really, in this matchup, it's going to be Houston's secondary. I mean, you've seen them be torched. Now we've seen some additions and some changes around there, but that's like a really bad situation when you have Lamar Jackson with 2 perfect passer ratings in the same season.
Wow.
And then he gets Hollywood Brown back, and then he gets, he also has all of his tight ends. So that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it could get ugly for the Houston defense. Greg, what are you looking for?
Yeah, can the Texans keep up in a shootout? Because this is a team they're off. Deshaun Watson's been great. He's so good on third downs. There's no perfect play call for him on third downs, but they haven't really been a great vertical passing team, and that's kind of what you expect out of Watson. DeAndre Hopkins has been catching a lot of those shorter passes. They're healthier at wide receiver, and I just don't think the Texans defense is going to hold Baltimore down. So are the Texans up for a nice little 37-35 barn burner that we all should be watching?
Just so you know, that is actually Deshaun Watson.
I know, I was a little confused.
I liked the dance, though.
I figured that's not Tom Savage, so it's probably Watson.
Not Deshaun Watson.
Well, my question is, what's the Baltimore Ravens defense going to do? They're actually facing a quarterback who is most like the quarterback for them on the other side of the ball, in Lamar Jackson. How will they fare against a mobile quarterback who is dynamic the way Deshaun Watson is?
I've been giving them some love that their defense has been getting better. Marcus Peters has obviously helped. They've settled on Jalen Ferguson as the guy who's rushing the passer opposite Matthew Judon. But they haven't really played great offenses, including the Patriots. They're not a great offense right now, so this is a bigger test for them.
One more thing, Will Fuller not playing, so you got to put Kenny Stills in for your upside pick there if you're looking for a wide receiver.
All right, let's get to some picks here. Ravens are favored by 4.5 in this one. Cynthia, what's the model say?
I got 5. 27-22. I have Baltimore defeating Houston in this one.
I'm going with the Ravens too, just not because of Lamar Jackson, who has been playing crazy. I love their defense as well. I think they're starting to gain their identity a little bit and find themselves in the team. I think it continues
today. Do you think Hollywood Brown has a touchdown?
I don't think Hollywood Brown has a touchdown.
Okay, breaking news.
Uh-oh, we'll see that later. I have the Ravens winning, but I think it's going to be closer than 4.5. Like, this is one of those games that my model is like, if I just can't decide who's going to win the game, you pick the slight favorite at home, but you don't pick them to cover.
I like it. All right, now we're going to Indianapolis, where the Jacksonville Jaguars are coming off a bye. They're taking on the Colts. And also, Nick Foles is back in the fold for Jacksonville. We'll get right to picks here. The Colts are favored by 3 at home, I believe. Cynthia, what's your model say?
I have an upset. I have Jacksonville defeating the Colts 22-21 in this one. And by the way, good job for you. Nick Foles back in the fold. That's a tongue twister.
Thank you.
Welcome to Sunday morning. Good job.
I love it. I'm going with Indianapolis Colts. Jacoby Brissett is back. I
Look at that knee.
The knee is definitely braced up.
I won't expect
I won't expect any Lamar Jackson style highlights from him. But I do think the team will be energized. They're going to play well, and Jacoby will get them back on track.
Man, I had the Jaguars winning by 1 or 2 points. After seeing that brace, I'm bumping it up to 5 or 6. I love Nick
Foles. Made that Don Joy that big. Who knew?
I love this Nick Foles team, and they can rush the passer too, the Jaguars. So I like them today.
All right, well, we're going to stay in the South, but go over to the NFC, where the Falcons, who are fresh off of a huge win against the New Orleans Saints, travel to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers favored by 4. Cynthia, what do you got?
Okay, so I have Carolina defeating Atlanta 29-22, which equals 7. Why? Carolina's defense gotten significantly healthy. When you look at the injury report, a lot of big names are off of it. Bradbury, more corners, that makes it harder to catch passes, especially when you've seen this Atlanta defense. Last week they looked amazing, getting a ton of pressure, and then you've seen some lackluster, maybe fantasy turnstile type performances in other outings.
I'm going with Carolina. The Falcons, they looked great last week. It just seemed more like an anomaly to me, and I don't think they're going to duplicate that performance this week. So I'm with you. I'm going with the Panthers.
Dan Quinn's defenses have the stats back it up. They play well better late in the season. So I think maybe he's going to turn this team around. I have the Falcons in an upset. I usually don't put too much into previous years, but if you look at what Matt Ryan's done against Ron Rivera's defense,
you do have enough.
That defense hasn't changed over the year. Matt Ryan is always killing them, and I think this Falcons team is going to be more like the team we expected the rest of the way.
All right, first hot take of the day from Greg. Let's check out some more notable actives and inactives for this week. Matt Stafford out, T.Y. out, Adam Thielen out. What else sticks out to you here?
Laremy Tunsil in. That's awesome. If you are a Deshaun Watson fantasy owner or really a DeAndre Hopkins fantasy owner, that's good stuff there. Carlos Hyde fantasy owner.
Le'Veon Bell healthy. We're seeing that good ticket's still available. If you're in the D.C. area, you can see NFL football for cheap. Up close.
Go to the game. DMV.
All right. All right, well, when we get back from Game Day View, there it is.
There he is.
Dak hips. Hashtag Dak's hips. We're going to talk about those hips and maybe some performances. We get back on Game Day View. Listen to the music they put to it. DeAndre Hopkins in the building. Have you ever seen a more swaggy jacket?
I actually wore that in this morning.
Did you?
I did, the same one. He and I, we called each other. We planned it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they call you Jeff Driscoll, so.
Ooh,
look at the bag.
Love that.
I am Jeff Driscoll.
Nuke. I wish I could pull off the outfits.
You could.
He's like my spirit
Jeff
animal.
Driscoll.
You know, that's how I feel inside.
Hashtag proper is what we call that jacket.
We need that. That is. Speaking of which,
Oh, wow.
look
You
at that
just say-
setup. Oh my gosh,
Hey-o.
best friends.
It's week 11.
Proper performances time. Are you ready? DeAndre Hopkins, touchdown. That seems like an easy one.
I would pick that every week.
You know what? Model loves it this week.
I think that's a high-scoring game. We talked about it.
Yeah.
So I'm loving it.
And Laramie Tunsil being in means it's even better opportunity for this to actually happen. You ready for the next one?
What do you got?
Okay, you're gonna like this one. This one's the Hawks special. Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson together, 500 passing yards.
Woo!
More than that.
I like that.
Love it. I think both of these defenses, if they have a weakness, they're going to give up some big plays. And again, we're just riding the offense.
You only need
one.
250 each to make this happen. So
Especially against
500.
Houston secondary.
Come on. All right, you ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
Okay. So the next one here, Ezekiel Elliott in Detroit. You know those old songs like "So Cold in the D"?
Yeah, well,
Not
I
for
remember.
Ezekiel Elliott. 115 scrimmage yards. He's going to have more than that. I have about 120. He's a top 5 running back on the week. The Lions keep it on the ground in a lower scoring game than you might imagine.
I like that, and I wish we had that license for that video to play right now.
I want to know what's
It's
happening
such-
behind Zeke right there. Yeah, that's more interesting.
What is that?
Zeke could get 150 by halftime and then sit out the
what are we
rest of
doing?
the game
Oh
today,
gosh,
please.
he's okay. Got it. Keep going. More. A few more. All right, next up, Julian Edelman, more than 4 receptions against an Eagles secondary. Yes, they have had the week off to game plan against us. Mohamed Sanu is there. It does create more opportunities. I think getting the ball out of Tom Brady's hands and staying away from the pressure up front is the way that Julian Edelman has more than 4 receptions.
More hurry up, more throws, more plays, not many runs. That just means you're running 70, 80 plays if you're the Patriots. 4 is a gimme.
I like it. I'm all with it.
Last one, Michael Thomas. This is so crazy. Only 91 receiving yards. That's all. That's the threshold. Come on.
That's a lot of yards.
That's like 3/4 right there.
Yeah, I like it, man. Michael Thomas, best receiver in football.
Agreed.
It took me a while to get there, but I am there. He's
At
the
some
number one.
point, we might have to give him some MVP talk love, just because he's set to break records right now.
Yeah.
He's on
Let's
pace.
go.
And he does it with any quarterback. For more on this one, let's go on the field with Tiffany Blackman.
We
have to be the most desperate team every time we take the field. That's what Saints defensive end Cam Jordan told me. The Saints were riding a 6-game winning streak prior to that loss to the Falcons. Jordan told me that when you're winning, you can look at the tape and say, all right, we got to fix that. But now he said it's about paying attention to the most minute detail. Now the Saints pass rush is going to have to put the pressure on Jameis Winston today. The Bucs have the 5th-ranked passing offense in the league, and the Saints are going to be without corner Marshawn Lattimore. They're going to have to find a way to slow down the best wide receiver duo in the league, and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They have combined for over 1,700 receiving yards this season. Now to Mike Giardi in Philly.
Thank you, Tiffany. The Eagles know they have to stop Patriots slot receiver Julian Edelman. Of course, that's easier said than done. Edelman has been the #1 target for Tom Brady over the last few years and his go-to guy on 3rd downs. Everybody comes into it knowing they have to shut down Edelman, but it just doesn't happen. I asked Devontae Maddox, who will see Edelman quite a bit in this game, why. And he said, well, he's super quick and his route running is so good. He said, and sometimes you just don't know when he gets to the top of that route which way he's going to go. He said, so you can't guess, because if you do, he'll spin you around and you'll be embarrassed and he'll be in the end zone. Back to the studio.
Below him.
That's right. We got a Super Bowl 52 rematch when the 5-4 Philadelphia Eagles host the 8-1 New England Patriots. Greg, we will start with you as the resident Patriots homer. What are you looking for in this matchup?
Well, I prefer to see it as a Super Bowl rematch between the Andy Reid Eagles and Belichick, which they won 24-21. Those were two teams that weren't that explosive, and that's what these Eagles and Patriots look like right now, especially without Alshon Jeffrey. I'm just wondering, if you're Philadelphia, how much can you embrace this run first, station to station,
back,
two tight ends off it? Because look, I know people, they're about the most analytically minded team in the NFL, and there's some part of them that feels a little uncomfortable that they're just all about running on 2nd and 8 now. But that's who they are. You got to play to your strengths, and they're a power running team.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, you got to be careful because Jordan Howard has appeared on the injury report. So if
he's not expected to play in this game.
Correct. So if you have him, you need to create a contingency plan
that's my
for
starting running back.
Is he?
Yeah,
Come on, Hawk.
Go get Miles Sanders.
You got to set that lineup.
Go get Miles Sanders.
Yeah, let's get going.
Or Brian Hill, something like that. I don't know. To me, in this one, it's can the Patriots offense kind of get going? This Eagles secondary, they have had time to kind of game plan against the Patriots having the bye week. But what are we going to see in the passing game? I want to see Tom Brady connect with Edelman, Mohamed Sanu, all of these different receivers. I want to see what can happen here, because we saw some against the Ravens. It didn't look good, and it didn't. You mentioned it earlier. It didn't look like the offense
hasn't
that
for
we're
10 weeks.
No,
that's just the reality.
I think they're missing some explosion on the outside. I love Sanu. I love Edelman. I think they're two of the best and most reliable receivers in the game. But you need a little bit more of a deep threat from some of these Tom Brady weapons for their offense really to open up.
Your buddy was with Sanu. So what's he telling you? Have you been? You said, what's it like being
you know,
I know, because you were there in training camp. I don't know if it's different in October.
I'm a former Patriot myself, but when you sign there, Bill Belichick takes everyone's cell phone. So no one's been able to get in contact with them for weeks. We only see them when they play on game day. All right, let's tee some picks up here. The Patriots are favored by 3.5 in this one, Cynthia. What do you got?
No, wait, it looks really cold in Philadelphia, but I have a warm win for the Patriots, 24-21. Keep it closer than 3.5, but just like a nice field goal kick in this one. And I think Carson Wentz has a good game. He plays up to competition. I think this is a situation where they have game planned it to have enough time. It's not a bad game, just 24-21 Patriots.
If Nick Foles was still with the Philadelphia Eagles, I would pick them. Wow. But he's not. He's in Jacksonville. So I got the Patriots winning. I think the Patriots have a good bounce-back week, and I think that the Eagles have too many weapons out to really compete with them today.
I have the Patriots winning. I don't feel confident about either of these teams, what we're going to see, because I believe in the coaching staffs that they could come up with some wrinkle that really changes the way we look at them. But ultimately, the Patriots defense has been the most consistent group of either team in this game, so I'm going to trust in them to make a couple big plays in the back end. Devin McCourty, still getting it done. He's getting it done so much you might have to talk about him for Hall of Fame someday.
Ooh, I like that.
He's keeping that up.
You sure it's not Jason?
I know Jason's played well too.
All right. Now going to way better weather in Tampa Bay. It's the New Orleans Saints, who had coming off a weird loss last week at the Bucs, and the Saints are favored by 5 in this matchup. Hawk, what do you have?
I got the Saints winning, and I think they bounce back again. I think last week was an anomaly. Drew Brees is still getting back into a rhythm after his injury. I think he makes a little bit of a statement today against the Buccaneers.
I think the Bucs keep this game close. I think it's very dangerous. You said it was dangerous for the 49ers. Watch out. This NFC South, the dirty. I love this division. These rivalries are better than you think. And the Bucs, even when the Saints are at their best, always play them really well. And they're just so dangerous. They're an explosive offense. I think they give the Saints trouble.
You know what's really weird? The Bucs have the best run defense, but the worst passing defense, by a huge amount, and they have the worst scoring defense. So for me, I have Tampa Bay coming out on top, 28-21 in this matchup. I think it's a huge Michael Thomas game, and you can even play Jared Cook. I'm sorry, did I say the Bucs? I said the Saints.
Why not?
Saints.
Saints.
Saints,
Okay.
sorry.
Say Jared Cook. Let's go
Thank
to
you for the help.
Detroit.
It's a hot
where
take.
Cynthia,
The D.
you've been in a great mood all
The
day,
D.
despite
The
not
D.
having your boy Matthew Stafford
He's
on the
the toughest quarterback.
It's going to be Jeff Driscoll starting, and that's why they are
Not Jeff Driscoll.
+7
Jeff
at home.
Driscoll.
It's the Cowboys favored on the road. That's tough.
I think 26-19, so about 7 is right, a lower scoring game. I think Jeff Driscoll gives them an opportunity. He's mobile, he's different. They haven't been able to game plan for him as much, but it's still a nice, healthy margin for the Cowboys.
I got the Cowboys winning again. I think Dak starts throwing that hip around, and Lions defenders are going to be falling all over the place, dropping dimes. I think this Cowboys team is pretty good. They still have to find themselves a little bit, but I think they bounce back.
To be clear, no one's mocking his hip movement. It's respect. No other quarterbacks are doing that. Driscoll's not doing that.
A few of them are doing it. I just think it's really interesting.
It's actually a Tom House drill. Tom House, the quarterback guru, has all these quarterbacks doing it. It loosens
How much
their
do you
hips
think
up.
it's going to make him worth, right?
The price went up.
I have the Cowboys winning by 3 touchdowns in this game. This is what the Cowboys do. They look great in weeks where they play some of the lesser teams in the
you
NFL.
said low.
They are. With Driscoll starting, it's not a good defense. Cowboys roll.
Kitty
All
cats.
right, now we got the Vikings, who are home after a huge win last week on Sunday Night Football against those same Cowboys. Minnesota is favored by 10.5 in this one, Cynthia. What do you got?
So I think 9's about right. 26-17 is my score. Adam Thielen is not playing. I think Courtland Sutton has been great despite having a really weird situation at the quarterback position. I don't think Vic Fangio lets this one get way out of hand. He has tons of experience game planning against Minnesota offenses because remember he was in Chicago prior to this. So I think 9, it's still a big win, but not more than 10.
All right, I'm going Kid Cuzzy. I'm back on the Kid Cuzzy train. He reeled me back in last week.
This is what he does. Kid Cuzzy and is you got to think of a better one because Dalvin Cook's really.
He's really the MVP candidate. I know.
Pick it up. I have the Vikings winning. Like Cynthia, I think the Broncos will keep this competitive because Vic Fangio, he has improved that team defense. They're kind of greater than the sum of their parts, and they're that team. You say down the stretch, well, you got to earn your win against the Denver Broncos. They're playing spoiler. They're gonna make you earn it, and that's what'll happen today.
I'm taking us back down to another Florida team, this time South Florida. The Bills travel to the Dolphins, the 2-0 in past 2 games. Dolphins, and the Bills are favored by 5.5 in this one. Greg, what do you have?
Shout out to the Bills for making the show this week. That means you're making progress. I have the Dolphins losing this game. The Bills rather win on the road, but I think it's close.
I agree. I'm going with the Bills. I think they still have a good defense. They'll bounce back from there.
I have Bills by a touchdown, 23-16. Bills Mafia, the only time you can be nice to me all season.
Finally, the Sunday night football game, the game no one really wanted in primetime. Trubisky, Goff, Rams favored by 6. What do you got, Cynthia?
I think 23-17 is about right. So it's going to be right around very close. I think it's maybe 6.5 because I think Chicago's going to keep it closer than anything.
You guys called it a dirt nap game. I agree. I think the Rams win this. I just don't feel confident picking the Bears.
Yeah, the Rams
play
offense.
Action. I think
let's not
action
group
returns.
these two offenses together. Even though the Rams have had struggles on offense, they've also had some nice games. They still look like the Rams occasionally. The Bears at no point this year have really looked like a functional offense, including last week.
Yep, you're so right. All right, let's check out some more game picks. Full slate here. I think we're mostly aligned. I think Greg
I like
has
that home
one
Washington team today. They're due. I thought Dwayne Haskins, you know what? He showed some anticipation and timing on 3 or 4 of his throws in his first start that you don't see out of some young quarterbacks. So, a little positive.
I'm with you on the throwing part. I'm just worried about everything else. Chris Thompson, There's tons. Everyone's on the injury report. Everyone's on the injury report.
Yeah, we'll see, Greg, what that Redskins pick looks like. There goes Alvin Kamara warming up, getting his hands ready to battle it out against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll have more on that game after the break.
I like this fake cold. It's not cold there, buddy.
Kid Cuzzy.
There he is.
Ready to keep
the man,
it going.
The myth.
He's
the
like,
legend.
ooh, a big 1 p.m. game against Brandon Allen. No one's going to watch it. This is my time.
He's not worried about those hip exercises either. He's keeping the shoulders loose. I like it.
Get loose. He's just mad because Michigan State lost last night.
Ooh, okay.
Are you ready for more or less?
Let's get to it.
Okay, you ready? We got our foam fingers on, which means we are ready for more or less. In this first matchup, Broncos-Vikings, more or less than 40 points. More, less, more, less. I have apparently two of the same hand.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, wait, here, I'll take it. Ready?
I think we're getting some scoring here. Kid Cuzzy going deep. I think Brandon Allen, not as, rough around the edges as you would expect in his first.
I have 43 points, and it gets more than 40 in almost 55% of the simulations. So
that's beautiful.
Boom.
Bing.
We're aligned.
All right, next up. We are going to Cardinals and 49ers. The total is 47 points, not 74.
70? What?
47, 74. Let's just do it.
I'm really surprised by this one, that it was so, oh, wow. What, please.
Yeah, explain
Model
that.
says in almost 55% of simulations, it's going to be fewer than why. There's tons of people on the injury report. However, there are not really as many defensive players on the injury report. So with a bunch of offensive injuries, that drove the score down.
This Cardinals defense, they got some players, but they're not
Buda
good
Baker,
as a whole.
Buda Baker,
They're
Buda
giving
Baker.
up a
One of my
lot
favorites.
of points.
Okay, last one. Patriots Eagles, the Greg Rosenthal special.
Yep.
We got 44 points. Yes or no?
Bam. Another
more.
defensive game.
Ting!
I think it could be like the Ravens. Maybe there's defensive scores, and that gets me, but I don't think these offenses are going to be moving the ball up and down the field. It's a far cry from that Super Bowl.
Of the three that we just did, this is the least certain at around 53% of the simulations, but I still have more at 45 points in this one.
I got more too. I think the Eagles get the RPO going.
If
Yeah.
if
Patriots,
all right, all
they
right.
have trouble with the RPO.
If only if it were Nick
Lamar
Foles,
Jackson.
he'd have way
If
more.
only it was Nick Foles. All right, let's get to some fan tweets.
Okay.
Questions for Cynthia. We got Diggs, Samuels, or Damian Williams.
I saw Damian Williams on their injury report, so I'm going to keep it safe here and say Diggs.
I like it. Shout out to Stefan. All right, standard league need. Hunter Henry, Curtis Samuel, or DJ Moore. Love Moore, but no TDs hurt in a standard league.
Fair point. I think either Samuel or DJ Moore is the pick here. I would lean towards DJ Moore.
Bad spelling, bad apostrophes.
Doesn't matter.
Everything.
Doesn't matter. I don't care
matter.
about grammar. I do
Tweets.
math, not grammar.
Better start, Jimmy G, Jay Allen, or Matt Ryan.
Oof. Go with K Allen and switch it around, but I would say J Allen of those three.
All right,
think
now
there's
it is
Kyle Allen
time
Miami. Why not?
to spice things up, presented by Hardee's. Try the new Southwest Patty Melt for a limited time and only at Hardee's. Cynthia,
What
we
a
will
pro.
start with you. How are we spicing things up today?
I have the Raiders making it to the playoffs. I know right now they're kind
Wow.
of they're right in as of right now, but there's some interesting games left to play, and their division is very tricky. So obviously, right now it looks like Kansas City's going to kind of be the favorite in this one, but I have the Raiders making it to the playoffs.
They're in an
Postseason.
interesting spot, playing games the next 2 weeks that they're really supposed to win. Who expected that?
They did really good on that crazy road trip, too. So I think that was kind of an indicator.
Well, I say the Raiders aren't going to make it because the Jacksonville Jaguars are. They're taking that 6 spot. Maybe they could both get in. Who knows? I think Nick Foles carries this team to the playoffs this year because I think he makes the ceiling of what DJ Chark and Chris Conley and that whole offense, maybe take some of those 8 men in the box, defenses that have been stopping Leonard Fournette, loosen it up a little off with Nick Foles' big arm.
I think that means if D.D. Westbrook's active, you need to play D.D. Westbrook, is what I heard from that.
All right.
What happened to Minshew Mania? We got off of that really quick, didn't we?
I like Gardner Minshew. Two things can be true. He was really good for a rookie, but he didn't put together one of the great Super Bowls in NFL history.
Yeah, I mean,
true.
he's not a Super Bowl MVP
All
kind
right,
of thing.
I'm going to be quick on my spicy take. I think I'm going to stick with today's games.
Do it.
Lamar Jackson has 3 more total touchdowns
Woo!
than Deshaun Watson. 3.
Oh
This
my
is disrespectful.
goodness. That's
Maybe
how many
it's
total touchdowns are we going to see in this whole game? Like 20?
between the two of them.
Someone go let Deshaun
9,
Watson know
6,
before the game.
8,
that Hawk,
6 and 3.
Hawk is
Okay.
clowning him.
I'm not clowning you,
Ooh.
Deshaun.
Please.
Lamar has been balling. All right. Well, that was it for Spice Things Up, presented by Hardee's. And that does it for Game Day View. Make sure you check us out every Thursday at 6 p.m. Fantasy League 1 is next, right here.
Right here.
NFL.com.
Oh, I love this Bluetooth service stuff. Yeah. Get it. There you go. One more. 2 more. Yep.
Those are some loose hips.
Motown. Motown classic right there.
Everyone trying
I
not
want to
to
know what
walk.
he's listening.